Chosen one, if you are hearing this voice, stop. Center your spirit right now. I am speaking directly to the unexplainable exhaustion that sleep cannot fix. God woke you up early today, or kept you heavy in bed, because He is interrupting your panic. You feel a pressure in your chest and a heaviness behind your eyes, like the air around you has suddenly become thick. Your mind is screaming that you are lazy, that you are falling behind, that you need to push. But listen closely. This is not depression. This is not a blockade. This is a system reboot. The atmosphere around you is heavy because a blessing of massive weight, your giant, is displacing the spiritual air as it lands in your life. You are feeling the shock wave before the impact. God has forced you into this stillness not to bench you, but to upgrade your capacity. Rest is no longer a luxury for you, chosen one. It is your only strategy to survive what is coming. You need to understand that you did not find this video by scrolling through an algorithm. The algorithm does not know the weight of the spirit that woke you up at 3 a.m. The algorithm does not know the silent cry you released into your pillow last night. This is a divine appointment. Your spirit orchestrated this connection because it knows you are in the danger zone. You are standing on the edge of a transition so massive that if you enter it with this current level of exhaustion, you will break. But if you align with what I am about to reveal, you will shift from breaking down to breaking through. I need you to stay with me until the very last second of this message. Do not leave halfway through. Because by the end of this transmission, you will not just understand why you are tired. You will have the specific blueprint to handle the giant that is approaching your door. We are going to unlock a 3-day calibration protocol that will turn your fatigue into a weapon. If you leave now, you leave with the confusion. If you stay, you leave with the keys to the kingdom. If you are ready to receive this upgrade, simply like this video to signal to the spiritual realm that you are present, and subscribe to lock your spirit into this frequency of truth. Let us go deeper into the diagnosis. I want to zoom into the moment that has been haunting you for the last 72 hours. It starts when you open your eyes in the morning. Before your feet even touch the floor, a wave of dread washes over you. It is not that you have a bad life. It is not that you are ungrateful. It is a physical heaviness that sits right in the center of your chest. You look at your phone. You see the notifications. You see the emails. You see the list of things you promised yourself you would do today. And instead of rising up with energy like you used to, you freeze. There is a specific moment. Maybe it happens in the shower, or maybe while you are sitting in your car in the parking lot before walking into work, where your brain starts attacking you. It says, "Look at you. You are wasting time. Everyone else is moving forward. Everyone else is hitting milestones. And here you are, stuck in neutral. You try to force yourself to pray, but the words feel like they are hitting a brass ceiling. You try to brainstorm ideas for your business or your ministry, but your mind is like a screen filled with static. You feel guilty. That is the core wound right there. The guilt of stillness. You feel guilty because you know you are destined for greatness, and you think that greatness requires constant motion. So when your body forces you to stop, you interpret it as failure. You might have even started Googling your symptoms. You are wondering if it is burnout. You are wondering if it is a chemical imbalance. You are wondering if you have lost your passion or if God has lifted his hand off of you. You look at your to-do list and it feels like a mountain you cannot climb. You might pick up a task, work on it for 5 minutes, and then put it down because the energy just drains out of you like water through a sieve. And then the enemy comes in with his whisper. He says, "You are finished. You have lost your edge. You are just lazy." Listen to me. That is a lie from the pit of hell designed to make you abort the process of your elevation. I need you to take a mental step back and look at this picture through the lens of the Spirit. This paralysis you are feeling, this inability to move forward, it is not a malfunction. It is a protective override. There is a verse you have heard 1,000 times, but you have missed the medical instruction hidden inside of it. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." You hear that and you think it means to be quiet or to meditate. But the English translation hides the violence and the urgency of the original command. The Hebrew word used there for "be still" is rapha. Rapha does not just mean to be quiet. It literally means to let drop, to slacken, to let go of the grip. It is the image of a soldier who has been gripping his sword so tight for so long that his hand is cramping, and the commander walks up and orders him, "Rapha, drop your hands, let the weapon fall, surrender the tension." God is not asking you to relax because it is spa time. He is commanding you to Rapha because you are gripping the steering wheel of your life so tight that you are about to drive off the cliff. The reason you cannot focus, the reason you cannot work, the reason you feel this heaviness is because God Himself has engaged the emergency brakes. He is forcing your hands to drop. Why? Because you are trying to fight a battle that is no longer yours to fight. You are trying to use human energy to birth a supernatural promise, and the two cannot mix. This heavy atmosphere around you is not depression, it is displacement. Imagine you are standing in a small room. Suddenly, a massive object, something solid and immense, begins to materialize in that room. As it enters, it pushes the air out. It compresses the atmosphere. The pressure rises. That is what is happening to you. Your wish, the specific breakthrough you have been crying out for, is entering your dimension. It is coming with such weight and such glory that it is physically compressing the spiritual atmosphere around you. Your body is reacting to the pressure change. Your spirit is reacting to the nearness of something holy and heavy. If you were running around busy right now, you would miss the arrival, or worse, you would collide with it and be crushed. The stillness is not a punishment. The stillness is the preparation for the reception. You are not lazy, chosen one. You are being positioned. You are being held in place by a divine hand that loves you too much to let you miss what is coming next. But I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, if I rest, I will fall behind. If I let go, everything will fall apart. That is the fear speaking. And that fear comes from a misunderstanding of how God operates with His most valuable servants. You think that when God has a big mission for someone, He gives them caffeine and a calendar. But if you look at the ancient records, if you look at the patterns of the scripture, you will see something shocking. Whenever God was about to release a massive assignment, He did not tell His prophets to wake up. He knocked them out. You think God is silent because He has left you? No. He is silent because He is working on you while you are under anesthesia. There is an ancient reason why the angels force the greatest prophets to sleep right before their greatest victories. It is a protocol that has been used for thousands of years, and it is happening to you right now. It is called the Elijah Protocol. And if you want to understand why your system is rebooting, you need to understand what happened under the broom tree. You need to look at the prophet Elijah. This man was not a coward. He was a powerhouse. Just days before he collapsed, he had stood on Mount Carmel and called down fire from heaven. He had defeated hundreds of false prophets single-handedly. He had outrun a chariot. He was operating at the absolute peak of spiritual authority. But immediately after that massive victory, we find him in the wilderness, sitting under a broom tree, begging God to let him die. I want you to zoom into that moment. Feel the dry desert heat beating down on his neck. Feel the dust in his throat. He is not just tired, he is completely depleted. He looks up at the sky and says, "It is enough. Take my life, Lord. I am no better than my ancestors." Does that sound familiar? Have you said those words in your heart recently? Have you looked at your life, despite all your past victories, despite all the prayers you have prayed, and whispered, "It is enough. I cannot do this anymore"? Now, pay close attention to what happens next, because this is the divine prescription that you are missing. How did God respond to his strongest soldier wanting to quit? Did God send a lightning bolt to wake him up? Did God send a sermon about faith and perseverance? Did God tell him to get up and pray harder? No, God let him sleep. And when Elijah woke up, God did not send a commander to give him new orders. He sent an angel to act as a waiter. The scripture says the angel touched him and said, "Arise and eat." And there was a cake baked on coals and a jar of water. Elijah ate. And then, listen to this, he lay down again. He went back to sleep. He rested twice. This is the part most people skip. They think if they rest once, they should be fixed. But the damage to your spiritual nervous system is deep, and one night of sleep is not enough to repair the years of fight or flight you have been living in. The angel of the Lord came back a second time, touched him, and said something that unlocks the entire mystery of your current exhaustion. The angel said, "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you." Catch that. The angel did not say, "Arise and work because you are lazy." He did not say, "Arise and pray because you are backsliding." He said, "The journey is too great for you." This was not a condemnation of Elijah's weakness. It was a confirmation of his future assignment. God was saying, "Elijah, where I am taking you next is so far, so high, and requires so much power that your current physical state cannot handle it. If you do not stop and let me refill you physically and biologically, you will not make it to the mountain of God." This is exactly where you are right now. You are sitting under your own broom tree. You are looking at the road ahead, the bills, the dreams, the responsibilities, and you are thinking, "I can't make it." And you are right. You cannot make it in your current state. That is why God has forced you into this season of deep rest. He is not punishing you for your lack of faith. He is preparing you for the distance. You are not suffering from a lack of motivation. You are undergoing a biological upgrade. Think about your phone or your computer. When a massive system update is ready to be installed, what happens? The device forces you to stop using it. The screen goes black. You cannot check your email. You cannot open any apps. To the untrained eye, the device looks broken. It looks dead. But inside that black screen, deep in the coding, the operating system is being rewritten. Old bugs are being removed. New capacities are being installed. Security protocols are being strengthened. If you try to force the computer to turn on while the update is installing, you might corrupt the entire hard drive. Chosen one, you are in the black screen phase. God is rewriting your spiritual DNA. He is expanding your emotional capacity. He is healing trauma you didn't even know you had. He is strengthening your nervous system to handle higher voltage. The reason you cannot focus on your work, the reason you feel like you are moving through molasses, is because 90% of your energy is being diverted to this internal upgrade. You are trying to run old programs on a system that is currently rebooting. Stop pressing the power button. Stop panicking because the screen is dark. The darkness is not the end. The darkness is the download. You need to reframe this heavy feeling in your chest. When you feel that weight pressing you down into your bed or your chair, do not rebuke it. Do not fight it. I want you to visualize that heaviness as the hand of the angel touching your shoulder, just like he touched Elijah, saying, "Lay down, not yet. You are not ready yet." You have been asking God, "Why now? Why did you stop me right when I was gaining momentum? Why did you strip away my energy right when I needed it most?" The answer is in the angel's warning to Elijah, because the journey is too great for you. But you need to ask the deeper question. Why is the journey suddenly too great? You have handled hard things before. You have survived difficult seasons before. Why is this specific season requiring such a radical shutdown? It is because what you have asked for, the thing that is coming toward you right now, is not just a blessing. It is not just a new job or a relationship or a financial breakthrough. Those are small things. You have survived those before. No, chosen one, you have unwittingly invited something much more dangerous and much more powerful into your life. You did not just ask for a gift. You invited a giant. And if that giant steps into your life before your floorboards are reinforced, he will crash right through your house. You have spent years praying for this moment. You have visualized it. You have written it down in your journals. You have cried out in the middle of the night, "God, when will it be my turn? When will the breakthrough come?" You have convinced yourself that the moment this wish arrives, everything will get easier. You think the arrival of the blessing will be the end of your stress. You imagine it like a soft rain after a drought, or like a warm sunrise after a long winter. You think that when the money comes, the anxiety will vanish. You think that when the spouse appears, the loneliness will dissolve into effortless joy. You think that when the ministry launches, you will finally feel light. But I need to shatter that illusion right now. Because if you walk into your next season expecting ease, you will be crushed by the reality of what you have asked for. You did not ask for a butterfly to land on your shoulder. You asked for a giant to step into your house. You did not ask for a gentle breeze. You asked for a shift in the tectonic plates of your destiny. This is the twist that nobody tells you about being a chosen one. The blessing you are waiting for is not light. It is heavy. It is terrifyingly, overwhelmingly heavy. Let me take you deeper into the architecture of the spirit realm. There is a specific physics to how God operates, and it is hidden in a word you have heard 1,000 times, but never truly understood. You need to open your spirit to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17. The Apostle Paul speaks of an eternal weight of glory. Pause right there. Do not gloss over those words. Weight of glory. In our modern language, we have diluted the word glory. We think of it as a bright light, a shiny halo, or fame and applause. We think of it as something ethereal, something that floats. But the Bible was not written in modern English. It was written by men who understood the Hebrew concept of spiritual substance. The Hebrew word for glory is kavod. And kavod does not mean shiny. It does not mean famous. Kavod literally means heavy. It means weighty. It means severe. It implies something that has mass, something that commands gravity, something that demands respect because of its sheer density. In the ancient world, a man's kavod was his wealth, his livestock, his gold, his authority. It was the substance of his existence. If a man had much kavod, he left a deep footprint in the ground. When the glory of God, the kavod of God, filled the Temple of Solomon in the Old Testament, the priests did not stand up and cheer. The scripture says they could not stand to minister. They hit the floor. Why? Because the atmosphere became physically heavy. The presence of God had so much mass that human beings could not remain upright under the pressure. Now, apply this to your life. You are asking God for glory. You are asking Him to increase your influence, your finances, your anointing. You are asking for more kavod. You are asking Him to place a heavier mantle on your shoulders. And yet, you are confused why you feel pressure. You are confused why you feel like the air is thick. That pressure you feel on your chest right now, that sensation that gravity has increased around you, is not the enemy trying to crush you. It is the weight of the glory approaching your coordinates. You are sensing the gravitational pull of the massive blessing that is incoming. Your spirit is registering the density of the assignment God is about to hand you. This is why you are exhausted. You are in the presence of the heavy, and you are realizing, perhaps for the first time, that carrying a crown hurts the neck. Carrying millions of dollars requires a spine of steel, not just a desire for luxury. Carrying the secrets of God requires a mental fortitude that most people do not possess. The disconnect in your spirit has been this. You have been praying for the kavod, but you have been preparing for a picnic. You want the authority, but you are trying to maintain the lifestyle of a civilian. And God, in His mercy, has looked at you and said, I cannot give it to them yet. Not because I do not want to, but because if I drop this weight on them now, it will kill them. I want to give you a mental image that will explain your entire season of stillness. I want you to close your eyes for a moment if you can, or just visualize this clearly in your mind. Imagine an old wooden table standing in the middle of a room. This table represents your current capacity. It represents your character, your nervous system, your emotional maturity, and your physical endurance as it stands today. This table has weathered many storms. It has cracks in the legs from past traumas. It has termite damage from years of negative thinking. It is wobbly because you have been running on adrenaline and caffeine for a decade. It is a faithful table. It has served you well, but it is fragile. Now, imagine that God is holding a 500-kilogram bar of solid gold right above that table. This gold is your wish. It is the marriage you want. It is the multi-million-dollar business. It is the global ministry. It is the answer. You are standing there screaming, God, give it to me. Drop the blessing. Why are you withholding it? I am ready. But God is looking at the table. He knows physics. He knows that if He releases that 500 kilograms of gold onto that rickety, cracked wooden table right now, the blessing will not just sit there. It will crash through the wood. The table will splinter into 1,000 pieces. The gold will fall through the floor. And in the end, you will have lost the table, and you will have lost the ability to carry the gold. You will be left with nothing but a pile of expensive rubble. This is the tragedy of premature blessing. We see it all the time. The lottery winner who goes bankrupt in 2 years. The influencer who gets famous overnight and has a mental breakdown. The pastor whose church grows too fast and his family life implodes. These are people who received the kavod before they had the capacity. They got the weight, but they did not have the table legs to support it. So, what is God doing with you right now? Why the silence? Why the forced rest? Why the delay? He is not ignoring you. He is working on the table. Listen to the sounds of your life right now. The frustration, the stillness, the feeling of being stopped. That is the sound of the carpenter reinforcing your legs. He is stripping away the rotten wood of your old coping mechanisms. He is hammering in steel reinforcements of patience and discipline He is widening the surface area of your character so that when the gold drops, you do not buckle. He is essentially saying to you, I love you too much to crush you with answered prayer. I am keeping the weight suspended in the air until your structure is sound. You think you are waiting on God? No, chosen one. God is waiting on your infrastructure. He is waiting for your nervous system to calm down so it can handle the voltage of high-level decision-making. He is waiting for your identity to solidify so that success does not turn you into a monster. He is waiting for you to learn how to rest, because once this weight lands, you will never have the luxury of unconsciousness again. You will need to be a steward. And stewards must be strong. The stillness you hate is actually the construction zone of your capacity. Every time you choose to trust instead of panic, you are adding another layer of steel to your table legs. Every time you choose to sleep instead of worry, you are repairing a crack in the surface. You are building the vessel that will hold the wine. But I know this is hard to accept. Your logic fights against it. You see the clock ticking. You see the years passing. You think, but if I don't run now, I will miss it. You think that effort equals outcome. But in the kingdom, capacity equals outcome. I do not want you to take this as just a nice metaphor. I need you to understand that the danger is real. I have watched chosen ones with my own eyes who refused this process. They fought the rest. They forced the doors open. They manipulated their way into the room before God called them. They got the blessing, yes, but because they did not have the reinforced structure, the weight of it broke their backs. I saw this happen to a woman I will call Sarah. She was exactly where you are. She was talented, anointed, and desperate for her breakthrough. But she refused to rest. And what happened to her is a warning that you need to hear before you take another step. This is a true story about a woman I will call Sarah. Sarah was exactly where you are right now. She was anointed, she was gifted, and she was standing on the threshold of a massive promotion that she had been praying for over 5 years. It was a director-level position that would have doubled her salary and given her the platform to influence thousands. The prophetic words over her life had confirmed it. The signs were aligning. The door was creaking open. But just as the contract was being drafted, Sarah hit the wall. The same wall you are hitting. The heaviness came. The brain fog descended. God began to wake her up at night, not to pray, but just to sit in silence. He was trying to initiate the Elijah protocol. He was trying to get her to sleep because the journey ahead was too great. But Sarah did not listen. She interpreted the stillness as spiritual warfare. She thought the enemy was trying to make her lazy right before her victory. I want you to see her in your mind. See her kitchen table at 2 a.m. It is covered in empty coffee mugs and opened laptops. Her eyes are bloodshot. Her hands are shaking slightly from the caffeine she is using to override her natural shutdown. She is whispering to herself, I have to push through. I have to show God I am faithful. I have to prove I want this. She treats her body like a donkey that needs to be whipped, rather than a temple that needs to be sanctified. She pushes past the warning signs. When her heart starts palpitating, she ignores it. When her mind goes blank in meetings, she forces herself to focus. She thinks she is being a warrior. She thinks she is fighting the good fight. The week the promotion was scheduled to be announced, Sarah collapsed. It happened on a Tuesday morning. She was stepping out of the shower, getting ready for the meeting that would change her life. And her body simply quit. It went on strike. She woke up 3 hours later in an emergency room with fluorescent lights buzzing overhead and an IV drip in her arm. The doctors told her it was extreme exhaustion and an ulcer that had burst from stress. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the phone call she received the next day. Because she was not at that meeting, and because her health was now a liability, the board decided to postpone the promotion. 2 months later, they gave it to someone else. Sarah got the open door, but she collapsed on the threshold. She had the favor to get the opportunity, but she did not have the capacity to sustain the transition. Low capacity plus high weight equals destruction. This is the warning that heaven is shouting over your life right now. God is not trying to delay you. He is trying to save you from the hospital bed. He is trying to save you from the public humiliation of stepping into a role you do not have the nervous system to handle. Sarah thought the test was about how hard she could work. She failed because she did not know the test was about how deep she could rest. And as I tell you this story, I can feel the atmosphere shifting in your room. I can feel a specific fear rising up in your throat. It is a dark, cold thought that you have never spoken out loud to anyone. It is the shadow that follows every chosen one. You are listening to me, and a voice in the back of your head is whispering, "What if I am Sarah? What if I am not strong enough? What if the reason I am so tired is not because I am upgrading, but because I am fundamentally broken? What if God gives me the blessing and I ruin it?" Let us look at that fear. Let us drag it out of the dark and put it on the table. You are terrified of your own incapacity. You look at the size of the dream God has put in your heart, and then you look at your current reality, your emotional stability, your energy levels, and the math does not add up. You feel like a fraud. You feel like a child trying to wear a giant's armor. You are afraid that when the spotlight finally hits you, everyone will see that you are shaking. You need to know that this fear is not a sign that you are disqualified. It is actually the greatest sign that you are ready. If you were arrogant, if you thought, "I can handle this, I deserve this, I am strong enough," that would be the evidence that you are dangerous. That would prove you do not understand the weight of the glory. But the fact that you are trembling, the fact that you are asking, "Who am I to carry this?" that proves you have spiritual eyes. You see the kavod. You respect the weight. There is a powerful pattern in Scripture that explains exactly what is happening in your spirit. It is found in Luke chapter 5. We all know the story of the miraculous catch of fish. Peter has been working all night and caught nothing. Jesus tells him to let down his nets one more time. Peter obeys, and the catch is massive. But zoom into verse 6 and 7. Read the details that we usually skip. It says they enclosed a great quantity of fish, and their nets began to break. Catch that. The blessing was from God. The command was from Jesus. The obedience was immediate. And yet, the equipment started to fail. The nets began to snap. Why? Because the blessing was heavier than the infrastructure Peter had built. The miracle was too big for the container. And it gets worse. They signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both of the boats, so that they began to sink. Do you see it? A blessing from God, if received without adequate capacity, can sink your boat. Peter was in danger of drowning in the middle of his answered prayer. The blessing was perfect, but the vessel was unprepared. This is why you are in the stillness. God is looking at your nets. He sees the harvest He is about to release into your life. He sees the financial abundance, the influence, the relationships. He knows exactly how many fish are in that school. And He is looking at your current nets, your current mental health, your current discipline, your current rest habits. And He says, "If I give it to them now, the net will break. If I load their boat now, they will sink." So He hits the pause button. He stops the fishing. He sends you back to the shore. He makes you sit down and mend the nets. He makes you reinforce the boat. And while you are sitting on the shore, watching everyone else fish, watching everyone else post their wins on social media, you feel left behind. You feel like you are failing. But you are not failing. You are fortifying. You are afraid that you do not have the capacity. And I am here to validate that fear. You are right. You do not have the capacity. Not yet. The version of you that exists right now cannot carry the version of the future God has planned. That is why the upgrade is non-negotiable. That is why the rest is mandatory. The fear you feel is just your spirit acknowledging the gap between your current strength and your future weight. But God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And his primary method of qualification is this strange, holy, heavy season of rest. He is expanding your internal territory so that when the net fills, the fibers hold. So I want you to give yourself permission to be afraid of the weight. Tell God, Lord, I am scared this will crush me. That is an honest prayer. That is a prayer he can work with. But do not let that fear drive you into the error of Sarah. Do not let the fear of not being enough drive you into a frenzy of activity that destroys the very vessel God wants to fill. Your anxiety is trying to tell you that you need to do more to be ready. But your spirit knows the truth. To be ready, you need to become more. And you do not become more by grinding. You become more by expanding. So the question is no longer, why am I so tired? The question is, how do I cooperate with this expansion? How do I stop fighting the shutdown and start facilitating the upgrade? How do I sit on the shore and mend my nets without losing my mind? Most people think the answer is just to sleep more or to take a vacation. But you and I both know that you can lie in bed for 10 hours and wake up exhausted. You can go on vacation and bring your anxiety with you. Passive rest is not enough for what you are facing. You need a strategy. You need a way to rest that is actually an act of spiritual warfare. You need a way to engage your spirit while your body powers down. There is a secret protocol for this. It is a state of existence that the ancient mystics and the great prophets entered into right before their biggest shifts. It is not sleep. It is not meditation. It is something deeper. It is a weaponized form of stillness that scares the enemy, because he knows that when you enter this state, you are not just recovering, you are reloading. We call this the void state protocol. And if you want to ensure that your nets hold and your boat stays afloat when the giant arrives, you need to learn how to enter this state immediately. This is how you turn your waiting room into a war room. This is how you expand. You now understand the danger. You understand that if you try to carry the weight of the glory without expanding your capacity, you will break the nets. You understand that your exhaustion is not a sickness, but a construction site. So now, we must pivot from understanding to application. How do you actually expand? How do you facilitate this upgrade? You need a strategy that goes beyond just taking a nap or booking a vacation. You need a spiritual technology that allows you to enter the stillness without checking out of the warfare. We call this the void state protocol. Before I give you the steps, we need to make a critical distinction. There is a massive difference between active rest and what the world calls relaxing. Most of you think you are resting, but you are actually rotting. You are engaging in low-vibration escapism. You lie in bed for 10 hours, but you spend 8 of them scrolling through social media, watching other people live their lives, feeding your brain with 60-second dopamine hits of bad news, comparison, and noise. You think you are resting because your body is horizontal, but your spirit is running a marathon. You are frantically processing thousands of images and sounds. You are keeping your input channels wide open. That is not rest. That is battery drainage. That is why you wake up feeling more tired than when you went to sleep. You are putting your device on the charger, but you are leaving the screen on full brightness and running high-performance apps in the background. You will never reach 100% charge that way. True rest, the kind of rest that expands your capacity, requires you to enter the void. The void is a state of intentional disconnection. It is not about numbing yourself. It is about emptying yourself. It is the spiritual equivalent of clearing the cache on your browser so the new data can load. This concept comes straight from the blueprint of creation. Look at Genesis chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. It says that on the seventh day, God finished his work, and he rested. Now, ask yourself, was the creator of the universe tired? Did he have sore muscles? No. God is omnipotent. He does not suffer from fatigue. So, why did he rest? He rested to seal the work. He rested to establish a boundary between the creating and the sustaining. He rested to create a space where the holiness of what he had just built could settle. When God rested, he was not recovering. He was reigning. He was sitting down on his throne to oversee the system he had just built. You need to move from recovering to reigning. You need to stop resting like a victim who has been beaten up by life and start resting like a king or a queen who has issued a decree and is now waiting for the servants to execute it. Here is the step-by-step protocol to enter the void state. You can do this right now, wherever you are. You do not need a special room. You just need a shift in your intention. Step 1 is the disconnect. And I mean a radical, violent disconnection. You cannot enter the void while you are tethered to the matrix. You need to physically remove the source of the noise. This means the phone goes in another room, the television goes off, the music goes off. You will feel panic when you do this. Your brain is addicted to the noise. It uses the noise to drown out the voice of your own fear. When silence hits, the first thing you will hear is your own anxiety screaming at you. It will say, "You are missing out. You are wasting time. Check your email. Check the news." You must stand your ground. You must treat that urge to reconnect as a withdrawal symptom. You are detoxing from the world so you can connect to the kingdom. You need to sit in that silence until the panic subsides. It usually takes about 20 minutes for the dopamine cravings to stop. Push through the boredom. The boredom is the gateway to the breakthrough. Step 2 is the somatic scan. Once the external noise is gone, you need to address the internal tension. You are carrying the weight of the world in your muscles. You are holding up the sky with your jaw. I want you to do this with me right now. Keep your eyes open or closed. It does not matter. Just bring your attention to your jaw. Is it clenched? Drop it. Move your attention to your shoulders. Are they pulled up toward your ears? Drop them. Let gravity have them. Move to your stomach. Is it tight? Are you holding it in? Let it go. Why is your body so tight? Because physically, you are trying to control outcomes that are spiritual. Your tight shoulders are a physical manifestation of your lack of trust. You are trying to carry the government of your life on your own back. But the scripture says, "The government shall be upon his shoulders, not yours." Every time you release a muscle, I want you to imagine you are physically taking a bag of cement off your back and setting it on the floor. You are not dropping the standard. You are dropping the weight. You are signaling to your nervous system that you are safe, that you are not under attack, that the war is the Lord's. Step 3 is the surrender prayer. This is not a prayer where you ask God for things. This is not a prayer where you give him your shopping list. This is a prayer of relinquishment. It is a prayer where you hand over the keys. Most of us pray like we are giving God instructions. We say, "God, fix this, change him, pay that, open this door." That is not rest. That is management. You are trying to manage God. In the void state, you stop managing and you start trusting. The prayer looks like this. You say, "Father, I resign as the general manager of the universe. I resign as the savior of my family. I resign as the provider of my destiny. I return the warrant to you. I trust you to keep the world spinning while I sleep. I want you to try a micro-action with me right now. We are going to synchronize this with your breath. You do not need to change your position. Just become aware of your breathing. As you inhale, I want you to mentally say the word, trust. Imagine you are inhaling a bright, white light that is filling your lungs with the certainty that God is in control. As you exhale, I want you to mentally say the word, control. Imagine you are breathing out gray smoke. You are blowing out your need to know how it is going to happen. You are blowing out your timeline. You are blowing out your desperate need to fix everything today. Inhale trust. Exhale control. Do it again. Inhale trust. Pull it deep into your belly. Exhale control. Let your shoulders drop as the air leaves your lungs. Inhale trust. The giant is coming, and God is preparing you. Exhale control. You do not need to build the landing strip. You just need to be the vessel. Feel that shift, that slight drop in your heart rate, that sudden feeling of space opening up in your mind. That is the void state. That is the place where capacity is expanded. That is the place where the nets are mended. You need to practice this protocol every single day. You need to fight for this territory. Because the moment you decide to enter this rest, the moment you decide to let go of the control, you become a threat to the enemy's agenda. He relies on your exhaustion to keep you weak. He relies on your busyness to keep you distracted. And I have to warn you, the enemy is watching you right now. He sees that you are learning the secret of the Elijah protocol. He sees that you are learning how to expand your capacity to carry the glory. And he is terrified. He knows that a rested chosen one is a dangerous chosen one. So he is not going to just let you sleep. He is not going to just let you drift into this holy stillness. He is going to launch a counterattack. There are 5 specific weapons he uses to drag chosen ones out of the void state and back into the grind. 5 specific lies he will whisper to make you pick the heavy bag back up. And if you do not recognize them the moment they arrive, you will think they are your own thoughts, and you will lose your peace before you even realize it is gone. You need to brace yourself because we are entering the danger zone. I cannot let you walk into the void state without handing you a weapon. You need to understand that the moment you commit to this protocol, the moment you actually disconnect and start expanding your capacity, you put a target on your back. The enemy does not mind if you go to church. He does not mind if you listen to worship music. But he is absolutely terrified when you truly rest. Why? Because when you work, you work. But when you rest, God works. The enemy knows that the giant is coming. He knows that your capacity is being upgraded, and his only strategy left is to interrupt the download. He cannot stop the blessing from coming, but he can stop you from being ready to receive it. He wants to lure you out of the void state and back into the chaos where he can manipulate you. He is going to launch a series of distractions that I call the 5 false emergencies. These will not look like attacks. They will look like urgent crises that demand your immediate attention. But they are decoys. And if you react to them, you abort the upgrade. You need to recognize these 5 assassins the moment they show up. The first form of attack is phantom guilt. This usually hits about 3 hours into your rest. You will be sitting in the silence, finally feeling peace, and suddenly a voice will scream in your ear, "You are being irresponsible." It will remind you of a project you haven't finished. It will tell you that you are letting your family down. It will tell you that you are going to lose everything if you don't get up and grind right now. This is a lie. It is a phantom emotion designed to trigger your insecurity. The enemy is using your own work ethic against you. Do not answer this voice. The second form is financial panic. This is a classic tactic. You decide to take 3 days to calibrate, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a bill arrives, or your car breaks down, or a client cancels, or you just get a sudden, irrational terror that you are going to go bankrupt. The enemy is trying to hit your survival instinct. He wants you to panic and jump back into the rat race to fix a problem that God has already solved. He wants you to trade your spiritual authority for a few dollars of false security. The third form is relationship drama. We call this the agent of chaos. You are in the zone, your spirit is settling, and suddenly your phone blows up. It is a family member picking a fight. It is a friend with a crisis that they want you to solve. It is an ex reappearing. The enemy will use the people closest to you to create noise. He knows that if he can get you emotionally entangled in drama, you will leave the wall. You need to know that 90% of the emergencies people bring to you during your consecration are not real. They are distractions sent to steal your peace. The fourth form is the comparison trap. This hits when you cheat and look at your phone. You will see someone else getting exactly what you are waiting for. You will see a peer launching the business, getting the ring, buying the house, and the enemy will whisper, "Look, they are getting ahead while you are sitting here doing nothing. If you don't move now, you will be left behind." This is designed to make you act out of envy rather than obedience. The fifth form is the most dangerous of all. It is the good idea trap. This is a subtle assassin. While you are resting, you will suddenly get an idea for a new project. Or you will get an opportunity that looks amazing. A new collaboration, a new open door. It looks like a blessing. It looks like the giant. But it is a decoy. It is a good thing sent to keep you from the God thing. If you chase this new idea right now, you will fill your capacity with something good, and you will have no room left for the great thing that is coming next week. So, how do you fight this? How do you distinguish between a real emergency and a trap? You use the Nehemiah strategy. I want you to remember Nehemiah in the Bible. He was rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. He was doing a great work. And his enemies, Sanballat and Tobiah, kept sending him messages saying, "Come down and meet with us. Come down and talk." It sounded urgent. It sounded important. But Nehemiah sent back a message that you need to tattoo on your spirit. He said, "I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down." Nehemiah understood his elevation. He knew that he was high up on the wall, in the will of God, and that anything asking him to leave that position was a demotion. He did not argue with them. He did not fight them. He simply refused to lower his frequency. I want you to construct a mental image right now. Close your eyes for a second. Visualize yourself standing on top of a massive high stone wall. You are safe. You are elevated. The air is clear up there. Below you, in the mud, there is chaos. There are people screaming your name. There are bills waving in the wind. There are phone notifications flashing, but you are on the wall. You are in the void state. When the phantom guilt tries to climb the ladder, look down at it and say, I cannot come down. When the financial panic tries to shout at you, look at it from your high place and say, I cannot come down. When the drama calls your name, do not answer the phone. Whisper to your spirit, I am doing a great work. I cannot come down. How do you know if it is a trap? Use the peace test. If the thought brings you panic, urgency, or a feeling of scrambling, it is from the enemy. If the thought brings you stillness, clarity, and patience, it is from God. God never hurries his children. The enemy always pushes. The shepherd always leads. You must hold the line. You must stay on the wall. Because once you push back these 5 waves of attack, the atmosphere will clear, the noise will die down, and you will be ready for the final phase. There is one last step you must take before the giant arrives. It is a specific 3-day process that King David used before he took the throne. It is the final fine-tuning of your frequency. Once you clear the distractions, you need to calibrate your receiver, because the signal is about to get very, very strong. You have cleared the noise. You have identified the enemy's traps. You are standing on the wall, refusing to come down. Now, we must execute the final phase of your preparation. You need a timeline. You cannot live in the void state forever because you are called to impact the world. But you need a specific period of consecration to lock in this new frequency. I am giving you a specific protocol called the 3-day calibration. This is not a suggestion. This is the final checklist before the launch. Throughout Scripture, whenever God prepared his people for a massive shift, he often used a 3-day window. Jonah was in the belly of the whale for 3 days. Esther fasted for 3 days before approaching the king. Jesus was in the tomb for 3 days before the resurrection. 3 days is the biblical number for complete transformation. Starting from the moment this video ends, I want you to enter a 72-hour period of calibration. Here are the rules of engagement. First, you must honor the biology of holiness. For the next 3 days, your primary spiritual discipline is simply to eat and sleep. I know that sounds too simple. You want me to tell you to climb a mountain or read the entire Bible. But remember Elijah, the angel did not give him a scroll, he gave him a cake and a nap. You need to treat your physical body like a high-performance vehicle that is about to enter a race. Hydrate, sleep 8 hours, eat clean fuel. You are building the physical stamina to carry the weight of the glory. Second, you must go on a decision fast. For the next 3 days, make 0 major decisions. Do not quit the job. Do not sign the contract. Do not break up. Do not start the business. Your receiver is currently being tuned. And if you try to make a life-altering decision while you are in the middle of a reboot, you will choose from your trauma, not your destiny. Let the dust settle. If the decision is from God, it will still be there in 72 hours. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 15, gives you the formula. In quietness and in trust shall be your strength. Strength does not come from frantic decision-making. It comes from the quiet confidence that God has already decided for you. Third, you must practice the art of the open hand. Every time you feel a surge of anxiety about the future, I want you to perform a mental action. Visualize your clenched fists opening up. Visualize yourself releasing the outcome. Tell God, I am not holding on to the timeline anymore. I am just holding on to you. I want to tell you about a man named David to prove to you that this works. David was a frantic entrepreneur. He was exactly like you, talented, driven, but constantly hitting a ceiling. He was waiting for a massive investment deal that would save his company. For months, He checked his email every 5 minutes. He slept with his phone. He was vibrating with anxiety. He thought that if he disconnected for even 1 hour, the deal would fall through. But finally, he hit a breaking point. He watched a message like this one, and he decided to trust the protocol. He turned his phone off for 3 days. He went to a cabin. He slept. He walked in the woods. He stopped begging God for the money and started thanking God for the rest. On the morning of the 4th day, David turned his phone back on. There was an email waiting for him. It was not the deal he was waiting for. It was a different offer from a different investor for double the amount. But here is the most important part of the story. When David read that email, he did not scream. He did not run around the room in a panic of excitement. He sat there, drank his coffee, and smiled. He felt a deep, grounded peace. Because he had rested, his capacity had expanded. He received the millions not with the energy of a desperate beggar, but with the composure of a king. He was ready to steward the blessing, because he was no longer enslaved by the need for it. That is where God is taking you. He wants you to be so full of His peace that when the miracle happens, it doesn't knock you over. It just fits. You need to listen to me very carefully now. We are reaching the end of this transmission, and the atmosphere is shifting. I need to bring you back to the title of this message: Rest while you can. Those words are not just a comfort, they are a countdown. The window of stillness is closing. The atmospheric pressure is maxing out. You are not going to be in this waiting room much longer. The reason God is so insistent on you resting right now is because He knows what your calendar looks like next month. He knows the demands that are about to be placed on you. He knows the speed at which you are about to move. You are currently in the eye of the hurricane. It is quiet. It is still. But the back wall of the storm is approaching, and it is bringing the rain of abundance you have prayed for. This is your last chance to breathe before the plunge. This is your last chance to sleep before the baby is born. Do not waste these final moments of quiet by complaining about them. Cherish them. Drink them in. Everything is set. The table legs have been reinforced. The nets have been mended. The vessel has been expanded. The void state has been established. You have done the work. You have fought the good fight. And now, the giant is standing right in front of your house. Can you feel it? Can you sense the shift in the room right now? The waiting is over. The arrival is here. The tall man is at the door, and he is knocking with the weight of heaven behind his hand. I need you to position yourself. I need you to shift your posture from a person who is waiting to a person who is receiving. We are going to seal this moment. We are going to lock this upgrade into your spirit so that nothing can steal it. Are you ready to open the door? Then, spiritually, I need you to stand up. We are going to close this with a seal of fire. We have arrived at the threshold. You have received the diagnosis. You have understood the protocol. You have been given the weapons. The teaching is over. Now, the activation begins. I want you to change your posture right now. If you are lying down, or if you are sitting in your car, or if you are in a chair, I want you to stand up in your spirit. Visualize your inner man, the spirit that lives inside your body. Standing up tall, straighten your spiritual spine. Pull your shoulders back in the unseen realm. You are no longer the exhausted victim lying under the broom tree. You are the king and the queen preparing to receive the crown. Do not be casual about this moment. We are about to go before the courts of heaven. We are about to sign the decree that ends your season of delay and begins your season of capacity. I need your full, undivided focus. Center your breathing. Inhale, trust. Exhale, control. Let us begin. Father, in the name that is above every name, we step into the Holy of Holies. We acknowledge that the atmosphere in this room has shifted. We acknowledge that the heavy weight we feel is not a burden, but a glory. We stand in the eye of the storm, and we invite the giant to enter. Lord, I bring this chosen one before you. You see them. You see the tears they have cried at 3 a.m. You see the guilt they have carried because they felt too tired to run. You see the frustration of the closed doors and the silent phone. You know that they did not stop because they were lazy. They stopped because you were saving them. We thank you for the breaking of the nets. We thank you for the cracking of the table legs. We thank you for showing us our lack of capacity so that we did not destroy the blessing. We thank you for the broom tree. We thank you for the angel who touched us and said, "Sleep, for the journey is too great." We receive the rest not as a weakness, but as a weapon. And now, as an architect of the Spirit, I begin the sealing. I seal the void state protocol over your mind. I declare that from this day forward, you shall have the power to disconnect from the noise of Babylon. I break the addiction to distraction. I sever the cord that ties you to the opinions of others. When you enter the silence, you will not find anxiety. You will find the voice of God. I command your nervous system to down-regulate. I command your cortisol to drop. I command your sleep to be deep, restorative, and supernatural. I bind the 5 false emergencies that have been assigned to steal your peace. I bind the spirit of phantom guilt. You will no longer feel shame for resting in the Lord. I bind the spirit of financial panic. You will not strive for provision, you will attract it. I bind the spirit of relationship drama. We erect the Nehemiah wall around your focus. You cannot come down. I bind the comparison trap. You will not look to the left or to the right. I bind the good idea trap. You will not settle for the good. You will wait for the great. I seal the 3-day calibration over your calendar. I declare that as you shut down the world for these next 72 hours, heaven will open up over your life. And now, I prophesy to your future. I speak to the table of your life. I declare that your legs are reinforced with steel. I declare that your character is expanding to match your calling. You will not crack under the pressure of success. You will not crumble under the weight of wealth. You will not be destroyed by the spotlight. I declare the arrival of the kavod. The weight of glory is landing now. The giant is stepping through the door. The wish you made in the secret place is manifesting in the public place. And because you have rested, because you have obeyed the stillness, you will catch the blessing. You will hold it. You will steward it. You will multiply it. I decree that your next season will not be marked by striving, but by abiding. You will do less, but you will accomplish more. You will move slower, but you will go further. The days of burnout are over. The days of holy power have begun. Chosen one, do you receive this upgrade? Do you accept the responsibility of the heavy weight? Do not just nod your head. I need you to confirm it in the spirit. Say, yes. Say it out loud if you can, or shout it in your heart. Say yes to the rest. Say yes to the glory. Say yes to the expansion. Heaven has heard your answer. The contract is signed. The upgrade is installed. I commission you now. You are dismissed from the wilderness. You are dismissed from the striving. Go into your 3 days of silence. Go into your rest. And when you wake up, be ready to rule. Do not say Amen yet. Sit in this silence for a moment. Let the weight settle. The work is done. It is sealed.